Chicago and the Trump administration are at a standoff over crime. The feds want to bring in more ICE agents and National Guard troops, but Illinois leaders see it as empty grandstanding. And those leaders fear a very public showdown like we saw play out on the streets of Los Angeles. This push to bring in troops comes at a time when crime is actually down in Chicago over last year, but it remains to be seen if that will hold true over the weekend. Last Labor Day weekend was particularly violent. 5 people were killed, another 26 injured. Correspondent Alex Capriello live in Chicago. And Alex, you spoke with people who have been impacted by violence here in the city.
Yeah, that's right, Nicole. In fact, I just wrapped up a conversation with Raphael and Millie Burgos, who lost their daughter, Alexandria, 11 years ago to a crime that still remains unsolved to this day. So back in 2014, then 18-year-old Alex was picking up her little brother from a friend's house when bullets flew through the window, striking her in the head and killing her instantly. They still haven't caught that person responsible. And this is just one example of gun violence right here in Chicago. So I asked her parents how they feel about President Trump's threat to send in the National Guard, explaining the success Washington, D.C. has had with curbing violence with boots on the ground. Despite their daughter's tragic death, they don't believe a federal presence will be an effective deterrent. Instead, they hope the Trump administration invests in programs that promote gun control advocacy and youth outreach.
How does it make you feel knowing that the president is threatening to pull away funding that would go towards those gun violence prevention programs and the youth advocacy programs?
Please rethink it. Please rethink it. Because there's so many families, not just in Chicago, but there's so many families that had their loved ones taken. And they live with this trauma, they live with this absence, they live with that void. Just to please rethink it.
These programs really work. For the last 3 years that they've been in play, gun crime has gone down, violence has gone down, and it's proven. We don't need National Guards. We need more resources.
Since their daughter's murder, the Burgos family has been involved in various efforts to try to curb gun violence here in Chicago, like pushing for new legislation, actually speaking to formerly incarcerated inmates, as well as having one-on-one mentoring sessions with troubled youth. Nicole?
And Alex, as you have reported this week, there are also plenty of people in Chicago who feel like crime is out of control, and they are in favor of the National Guard coming in.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. This conversation about bringing in the National Guard to Chicago is polarizing, but it is worth being said, and there's no doubt about it, that it is effective, at least in some regards. So let's take a look at Washington, D.C., for example. After the president rolled out the National Guard there, the nation's capital actually underwent 12 consecutive days without a murder. And in the 3 weeks since, there have been at least nearly 1,400 arrests that have been made, 140 guns that were seized, and at least 12 known gang members taken into custody. This is all according to the White House. But the decision to roll out the National Guard, at least constitutionally, that lies with the governor of the state, not the president of the country. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says he's not going to be calling for the National Guard anytime soon. But the question, of course, about the legality of it all may not be enough to stop President Trump, who, of course, did something similar back in Los Angeles in June. At this point, the White House has said, or at least has signaled, regardless of where Governor J.B. Pritzker stands, that they plan to unroll some sort of federal presence here in Chicago beginning next week. Nicole?
All right.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.